my God, it is hot as a motherfucker outside. This heat wave still does not seem to let up, people. But, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping. It is 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and it's Saturday! You know what that means! We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Wait for it. Oh, wait for it! To mankind! And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, July 17th, 2021. Woo! Man, I'm already sweating. I think that's probably just the heat, but regardless, well, you know, it's probably me too, because I'm the hottest content creator in the IWC. There ain't nobody better, but look at that shit. We already got 11 likes already? We got 11 likes already. 9 people rocking in the chat right now. Let us check the chat, shall we? Let us check the chat. We got Dee Dee, how you doing? We got Nathan Curse, Adam Carl. Is Hologram here? Yeah, Hologram's here. How you doing, Hologram? We got Drew on the beat. We got Peanuts, and we also got David Maniscalco. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? We got a loaded Lightning Flash update. Trust me on that. Wow, I just need to take a drink right there, because I'm telling you right now, things are going to be rocking and rolling today. We got Brad Hilborn. How you doing, Mr. Brad Hilborn? Thank you very much for joining. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. Like I said, a loaded Lightning Flash update. We are just 24 hours removed, or away, rather. Removed would be Monday, but we are 24 hours removed from, or away, rather. God, I can't even get my words right. That's what this fucking heat's doing to me. But we got 24 hours until WWE Money in the Bank 2021. And I thank you, each and every single one of you, for joining me here. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is having a very nice summer. Hope everyone is getting out there to the beach. Hopefully everyone is getting out there to the pool. Everyone's cooling off with the sprinkler, with the garden hose. However you cool off, whether you stick your head in the freezer, whether you just pour water on yourself all over your living room floor. I don't know. Some people are weird like that, but regardless of that. So, first things first, before we get started, we need to get through the self-brand promotion and the advertisements as per usual. First things first, if you are not following me on the Twitter sticks, of course, the Twitter sticks, please make sure you follow me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMaker DJS. You will find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Follow me on Instagram as well at TheDJStorms. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. Of course, all those links are in the description. If you guys missed the rundown for WWE Money in the Bank with Mr. Rob Wells Jr., please go check that one out. That link is also in the description. Although, the views have kind of been disappointing for the first day, but that, I believe, goes to show you how little people care about WWE programming, even with fans coming back. That just goes to show you how shitty WWE programming really is. But regardless, please go check out the rundown for WWE Money in the Bank 2021 with Rob Wells Jr. if you missed it. I apologize for the microphone issues. I'm not sure what was going on there, but hopefully my blue snowball mic works a little bit better. Rob Wells Jr. actually just entered the chat, so if you missed the rundown for Money in the Bank with Rob Wells Jr., aka Cool King 89707, please go check that out. Link is in the description. We are about 6 minutes into the stream. I don't know what you're doing, but if you haven't liked the stream, we got a problem, people. We really got a problem if you haven't liked the stream. When you come on in, you gotta make sure that you hit the like button. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. We got 13 likes already. We're gonna try and get to at least 30 likes here on the Lightning Flash Update. That is the goal. Please make sure you get everyone in here and hit that like button. We got Leo in here. How you doing, Leo? My main man, Leo. It's your boy, Leo, is in the chat. Thank you very much for stopping by. The chat is rocking. The chat is rolling. That's what I like to see, people. That's what I like to see. Please hit that like button if you haven't already done so. And make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of social media to get as many people in here as possible. I'm talking Twitter. I'm talking Instagram, I'm talking Facebook, I'm talking Pinterest, I'm talking Tumblr. Everyone needs to know that DJ Storms is live. Get as many people in here as possible. Everyone. I'm talking about your mothers and your fathers and your brothers and your sisters and your sons and your daughters and your aunts and your uncles and your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your second, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th cousins, twice removed, 3 times removed, 4 times removed, your dogs, and your cats, and especially your guinea pigs, because I'm telling you, people, I'm getting really tired of saying this, so much so that I'm sweating pounds off of me as I'm talking about this, because we have talked about this thousands of times over, that guinea pigs, when they are exposed to DJ Storms, they are said to live long, happy, healthy, and fruitful lives. You guys need to get your guinea pigs in here. If you got a guinea pig, tell him or her that DJ Storms is on YouTube. That way, you can help them with their heart problems if they got their heart problems. That way, the blood will flow through their veins and flow through their heart very, very, very nicely. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And, of course, hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way, you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube, because it is the only time on YouTube where you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Give me 1 second, people, because it's time. Oh, it's time. It's Vader time. No, it's not Vader time. It's time for the magic comb, the slick, the sly black comb, and a little with a dash of and a whole lot of Ha ha. Because everybody wants a piece of the Storms, my people. You already know the drill. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. What do you say, people, that we get straight into the festivities here and we talk some wrestling? Oh, look at that. I see Danielle and Mr. Rob Wells Jr. have already shared me out. Thank you very much. Anyone else who has shared me out on all platforms, social media, let your presence be known. Share it out, because we got a lot of material to talk about, people. You are not going to want to miss it. Is that David? Yes, David Maniscalco. He just shared it out. That's what I like to see. We got 15 concurrent viewers, 14 likes. We need more, people. We need more. Keep on getting the people in here and keep on hitting that like button when you come on in. Now then, Oh, you know what I actually just received a notification for? I actually just received a notification. Apparently, Fightful has actually confirmed that Bianca Belair and Carmella are being booked in a fucking rematch for the SmackDown Women's title next week. Again? Again? What the fuck did Carmella do to earn a championship title match? Did she blow Bruce Pritchard? I mean, his fat covers up his tiny dick, which he hasn't seen in years. So maybe Carmella rose it up, considering she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. Maybe that's how Carmella got another championship match. Nothing but fucking rematches. Nothing but fucking rematches. The ratings are going to dip right back down to below 2 million sooner than anyone even expects. You're damn right, Danielle. I'm Mr. Steal Your Girl. I'm Mr. Steal Your Girl. So, hey, in all seriousness, Drew on the beat. Hopefully everything's going well in your family. But yeah, I may be Mr. Steal Your Girl. Anyway, keep hitting the like button, keep on sharing out the stream, and let's talk about the news, rumors, and reports we got going around. I got a report from some dude. Well, actually, not some dude. I don't know why I just said that. I got a report from Mike Johnson of PW Insider. According to Mike Johnson, apparently WWE is changing the names of Reckoning and Slapjack back to their old names of Mia Yim and Shane Thorne. Mike Johnson stated, and I quote, PWInsider.com can also confirm that WWE has dropped the Retribution era names for Mia Yim, formerly Reckoning, and Shane Thorne, Slapjack. And as of now, they will be utilizing their previous ring names. Obviously, that could change if there's a creative idea or direction for them. End quote. Now, I believe, reportedly, it is going around that Shane Thorne was actually in a dark match on SmackDown against the returning David Hart Smith, a.k.a. Davey Boy Smith Jr., So I'm not sure what's going on there, but if that's the case, good, because the women's division is in desperate need of an overhaul. So Mia Yim, going by her real name and being a part of the SmackDown Live women's division, that is absolutely excellent. Shane Thorne, I think he could be a decent hand in the mid-card if they actually give him an opportunity. Shane Thorne is actually very, very good at what he does. Now, as far as Mia Yim goes, the one thing that I am most interested in, if Mia Yim is going by her real name and she's going to be showcased on television, hopefully, in the women's division on SmackDown, you already got Shotzi, you already got Tegan, you already got Toni Storm coming next week. Mia Yim's going to show up. You got Bianca. Carmella's decent. You got Sasha coming back. You got Liv Morgan coming up through the rankings. Sonya Deville's potentially coming back. The SmackDown women's division could very well see some brighter days. That's what I'd like to hope for. Will it? I doubt it. But I'd like to hope. But the one thing that interests me the most is the fact that Mia Yim's on SmackDown. If she is brought back to SmackDown, this gives me just a little bit of hope. Just an ounce of hope. I'm not trying to get too hopeful, but this gives me just an ounce of hope that Keith Lee could potentially make a return, and Keith Lee could very well see himself on SmackDown, and we could very well see Keith Lee in some capacity on SmackDown, whether it be in a mid-card role, whether it be in a WWE Universal Championship title role. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I'd like to hope that this will lead to the return of Keith Lee, even though he's been out for over 5 fucking months now. But a guy can dream. That's the one thing that I'm looking forward to, and that's the one thing that I'm keeping my eye out for. So hopefully we see Keith Lee back in some capacity. Will we? I don't know. Moving on to my next report, I got an update on Jimmy Uso and why WWE did not remove Jimmy Uso from TV. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE did not remove Jimmy Uso from television because they did not want to mess with their future storyline plans. He stated, and I quote, There is stuff in the plans that they feel is far too important, and they don't want to screw it up, and that's the answer. You would think third DUI, bad luck. Gotta pretend it didn't happen. End quote. This is not news. This is not news whatsoever because WWE has shit going on with The Rock. They got shit going on with The Rock, and they want to get The Rock back on WWE television for a potential storyline with Roman Reigns. This is not news, people. We've heard this before. This is not news whatsoever. They are doing whatever they can. They are doing whatever they can to protect their investment in Roman Reigns and The Rock that is potentially scheduled to happen at next year's WrestleMania. Why do you think they haven't fired Nia Jax after so many fucking injuries that she's caused to the women's division? Because she's related to The Rock. Why hasn't Jimmy Uso received proper punishment or reprimanding for his actions? Because he's related to The Rock. It's what happens. The Anoa'i family, it's a rich family bloodline. But you know something? The one thing that pissed me off is you don't have to fucking fire the guy, but you need to do something to get the guy some fucking help because you are not going to be receiving a lot of nice comments should this happen again and he legitimately injures or worse, kills someone because of his incompetence. You cannot let this go unnoticed. At some point, you need to fucking take action. Because if he ends up getting behind the wheel and he kills someone or injures someone, he goes to court and there's this big fucking hullabaloo, I'm telling you right now, shit is not going to look good for you, and you may have no choice but to fire the guy, no matter what. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes. I've not heard anything from behind the scenes. I don't have any inside sources behind the scenes, but shit needs to be done. I already stated this before. Shit needs to be done, but this is not really anything new. WWE protecting their investment because they don't want to screw up plans with The Rock. So they're going to cater to the Anoa'i family as much as possible. So that way, nothing gets fucked up going into WrestleMania when Roman Reigns faces The Rock. Simple as that. My next report comes from Mr. Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast, and he provided the update on the WWE Draft. Apparently, it's been moved back. He tweeted out this week, and I quote, "So hearing some changes. Previous had reported the draft would take place on 8-31 and 9-3, meaning August 31st and September 3rd. Hearing it's getting delayed by a month. I was just told a 10/4 date, but not sure if that's one night or two. So the possible dates as of now are, quote, 10/1, 10/4, or 10/4, 10/8, end quote. And that's what he tweeted out not that long ago. I believe it was on either Sunday or Monday. Now, I don't even know why it's being moved back. To be quite honest with you, it really doesn't matter why it's being moved back, because at the end of the day, whether it takes place after SummerSlam, whether it takes place before Survivor Series, whether it takes place after Survivor Series, after the Rumble, after WrestleMania, after fucking Money in the Bank, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter simply because of the fact that no matter what happens, nothing's going to change. I already stated before that WWE, when this draft initially came around, they were at a point in which they needed the draft because there was just so much talent. There was just so much talent being oversaturated on television that was yearning for a fucking opportunity, which is why they made the draft. Now, over the last 15 months, they've been releasing talent after talent after talent after talent to a point where their roster has become so depleted that they don't need the draft. The draft's not necessary anymore. Look at the women's division on both shows. Look at the tag team division on both shows. Roman Reigns and Apollo Crews and Sheamus and fucking Bobby Lashley, they got no challengers for their championships because you refused to build up anyone new. Everyone from the time the draft began to now is either fired or they're still in the same position. The only two stars that were actually made throughout this recent resurgence of the draft was AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. Maybe Apollo Crews. But at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. This only further solidifies that WWE does not know what the fuck that they are doing. And at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter whatsoever. Whether the draft is after SummerSlam or after Clash of Champions, Extreme Rules, whatever it may be, shit is not going to change. Shit's not going to change, and things are only going to get worse. But you know something? Maybe it's probably best that they do the draft after SummerSlam, because at least then there would be some fresh faces on either brands, and we would actually get some fresh feuds, hopefully, going into the fall, because after SummerSlam, WWE is going into a down period. WWE is going to go to a down period. No one really gives a shit about Survivor Series. That's why they're calling to get The Rock at Survivor Series. I don't know. I'll keep my eye on it, and I'll provide you updates on what's going on. So, my next report comes from Dave Meltzer, and during the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer actually discussed the landscape of Monday Night Raw could very well be a factor that causes WWE to draft Drew McIntyre to SmackDown. He stated, and I quote, "I think that stipulation, the stipulation that Drew can't challenge for the WWE Championship anymore as long as Bobby Lashley's the champion, may mean that he goes to SmackDown because God knows Roman Reigns has no opponents. Who knows if they're going to do that in the draft." End quote. Now, I would not put it past WWE to actually do that in the draft, considering Roman Reigns, after SummerSlam, after he beats Cena, he's going to need some fucking challengers. He's going to need some fucking challengers because he's got a date with The Rock at WrestleMania. So you're going to need people to get Roman Reigns through the entire period of September, October, and then you could do the WWE Championship match at Survivor Series between WWE Champion, whoever that may be, and Universal Champion Roman Reigns. You got that going on. We could possibly see Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. Maybe if they want to do that before WrestleMania, or you could have Finn Balor win the Rumble, and then he challenges Reigns at WrestleMania. There's a lot of different routes that they can go. But Lord knows that Roman Reigns needs some challengers. After he beats Edge, and then after he beats Cena, there's going to be nobody left. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Drew McIntyre does end up getting removed from Raw and drafted to SmackDown. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. The only thing that I can hope for is that they don't end up building up Drew McIntyre to potentially beat Roman, because Drew McIntyre right now, he's in a position where he should be putting others over. Not named Jinder Mahal, obviously. Because we all know Jinder Mahal, man, he adds so much value to WWE television, am I right? Jinder Mahal with Veer and Shanky. Stealing McIntyre's sword, coming in on a custom-made bike. Yeah, he really adds a lot of value to WWE television. Moving on. I actually got an update on what happened on NXT in the women's division. WrestleVotes actually tweeted out an update on Mandy Rose's appearance on NXT this week. The tweet read, and I quote, While I'm not sure why, source says it seems like a trade went down between rosters. Raw trades Mandy Rose to NXT for Aaliyah. End quote. Now, I don't know why. I do not know why. Quite frankly, I don't really care. But here's what I want to say. Mandy Rose, when she was initially called up, she was not ready. Mandy Rose was not ready for the main roster when she was initially called up, and she needed to evolve on the fly. She needed to evolve on the fly, and she needed to adapt to her surroundings as time went on. And she was one of the NXT call-ups that did a fairly good job at adapting and really coming into her own. Really coming into her own as far as a main roster presence is concerned. And she actually had some pretty decent moments on the main roster. Her and Sonya Deville, they had a nice performance in the first ever women's tag team titles elimination chamber. They actually had a very, very, very good feud throughout the pandemic era of WWE. Some people may even consider that feud better than whatever Sasha Banks and Bayley were doing at that time. And, if you said that, I wouldn't really argue with you. Mandy Rose is back in NXT. This is only good for her because it gets her away from fucking Dana Brooke and the absolute travesty of a women's division that is the Monday Night Raw women's division. So I'm not complaining about that, but you're trading her for Aaliyah? You're trading her for Aaliyah. Aaliyah is nothing more than the brunette version of Lacey Evans. Aaliyah's not ready. Aaliyah in no way, shape, or form is ready for the main roster. She's been better than she once was back in the day, but that doesn't mean she's ready for this position on the main roster. She's the furthest thing from fucking ready. I don't know where this is coming from. It's almost like Vince McMahon just doesn't give a shit whatsoever. He doesn't give a shit whatsoever. He just picks no matter what. He is so fucking out of touch. He does not even know which NXT call-ups are ready and which NXT call-ups are not ready. He's calling up fucking Bronson Reed. He's calling up fucking Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart. He's calling up fucking Aaliyah out of fucking nowhere. He doesn't give a shit. This is what I don't understand. I don't fucking understand. I legitimately don't fucking understand why you're just calling up random fucking people out of the blue. If anything, you could have easily put Toni Storm on Raw. Here's what I don't understand. Why is it that SmackDown's getting all of the NXT call-ups? Now, I understand that SmackDown's obviously the better of the two shows. That's really not saying much. But at the end of the fucking day, how do you expect Monday Night Raw to get any better with the same fucking people that you have on the show as we speak? You expect Eva Marie to drive up the ratings on fucking Monday Night Raw? You expect Piper Niven with the new name of Doudrop to drive up the ratings on Monday Night Raw? You expect fucking Alexa Bliss, Hocus Pocus, demonic, satanic, voodoo, Lily the Doll bullshit? You expect that? You expect that to drive up the ratings on Raw? How do you expect to fix Raw? You can't just put everyone on one show and then leave the other show to fucking die. I don't fucking get it. Aaliyah is not ready for the main roster. And to be quite honest with you, I do not have any faith that she is going to adapt to her surroundings as good as Mandy Rose adapted to her surroundings. It's a rarity that people like that are able to really get in shape with what the main roster is accustomed to, especially when they have no experience. Mandy Rose was coming along. She was one of the rare occasions that actually succeeded over time on the main roster and actually came into her own. Same thing with Sonya Deville. Same thing with Liv Morgan. Same thing with Ruby Riott. Aaliyah, I don't see Aaliyah succeeding the same way that the others came into their own on the main roster when they came up early. Maybe I'm proven wrong, but I just don't see it. Speaking of Sonya Deville, this is my last report before we get into the weekly show reviews. Speaking of Sonya Deville. According to Sean Ross Sapp, man, the man that I live rent-free in his head, Jonathan Ross Sapp. Hey, Sean. I know you're watching me, Sean. I know your punk ass is watching me, Sean. And I know I'm living rent-free in your head day by day. There's a lot of room in there, by the way, just so you know, people. So, Mr. Jonathan Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, he reported that Sonya Deville's return to the ring is imminent. Mr. Jonathan Ross Sapp wrote, and I quote, "There has been a significant push to have Deville involved in the women's Money in the Bank match, and we were told as of one point she was penciled in for the match," end quote. Now, first things first, just based on that report, I don't know why you didn't just put Sonya Deville in the fucking match. I mean, you could have gone with Becky, you could have gone with Sasha, you could have gone with Sonya, but no, you put Tamina in as the last fucking participant. If anything, it should have been Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. But no, you just gave it to fucking Natalya and Tamina Snuka. Good job. Good job there, White Castle Pritchard. Good job. But based on this report, it does indeed look like that Sonya Deville will be returning to the ring sooner rather than later, which I am very, very, very happy about. Sonya Deville is someone that really came out of her shell and became something great during the pandemic. Sonya Deville was perhaps one of the best things, if not the best thing, in the women's division to come out of that pandemic era and that feud with Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville and what she was doing was second to none. There wasn't many people that were on the level of Sonya Deville, and I'm even including the men. Sonya Deville was cutting some excellent promos. She was gaining the upper hand on Mandy Rose very, very, very quickly, and she became a breakout star, if anything. May have taken a pandemic to do so, but she became a breakout star. And when she lost that Losers Leaves WWE match against Mandy Rose, they brought her back. And they gave absolutely no explanation why she came back. And they just made her a WWE official and the assistant to Adam fucking Pearce. They made her the assistant to Adam fucking Pearce for no reason whatsoever. If you were not going to bring her back in an in-ring capacity, why the fuck did you even bring her back to begin with? I don't fucking understand. I honest to God don't fucking understand. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. If you were not going to put Sonya Deville back into the ring, why did you even bring her back? I don't even know why she was even in this official role. She's been at this official role for about 6 months now, going on 7 months. I don't get it. So Sonya Deville's returning to the ring. Good. She should have been in the ring already this entire year. No exception. She should have been an in-ring competitor this entire year upon her return. Now, what happens with Sonya Deville? I don't know what happens with Sonya Deville. To be quite honest with you, I would have put her in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and I would have actually given her the briefcase, and I would have actually had her cash in on Bianca and made her into a new star. Make her the face of the SmackDown Live Women's Division. Continue the storyline with Liv Morgan, and then you can have Liv Morgan possibly get built up to win the Women's Royal Rumble and take the title off of Sonya at WrestleMania. Then you can build up Toni Storm to take the title off of Liv Morgan at SummerSlam of next year. What's so fucking hard about that? I gave you the entire landscape and the plans for the SmackDown Women's Division and the SmackDown Women's title for the next year. Why is it that I can do it in 15 seconds, but Bruce Pritchard can't come up with anything? With all the fucking time that he's got on his hands. Oh, wait a minute, he's stuffing his face with 50 White Castle fucking burger sliders. Oh, I love you, Vince. Shit pisses me off. It really does. Shit pisses me off. You got Vince McMahon calling for fucking Goldberg. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Goldberg's apparently coming back as well. I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but Goldberg's apparently on his way back, right? Goldberg's on his way back. Goldberg's on his way back. You got Vince McMahon. Oh, Bruce Pritchard. We can't get Brock Lesnar. Oh, we gotta get Bill Goldberg. We gotta get Goldberg against Bobby Lashley. Goldberg versus Lashley. It's such good shit. That's a great idea, Vince. I love you. Those are your news, rumors, and reports, people. I should just end the stream right there. But I'm not going to do that because I got 5 more weekly shows to go over, and I got 12 people in the chat. Chat's booming, and I know y'all want to see me rant about Monday Night Raw. Trust me. Oh, trust me, I'm going to. Trust me, I'm going to. We got Hibiki in the chat. We got Hibiki in the chat. We got a Hibiki with the lobster emoji. Yeah, I know. I know. But Bruce Pritchard's face, that ain't a lobster. That's a face that's as red as a baboon's ass. Much better that way. You get it? Because he's a monkey ass. Anyway. Thank you very much for joining, everyone that has joined. Thank you for sticking around. Hibiki, thank you for sticking around. Hula Grim, thank you for sticking around. Cool King, thank you for sticking around. Peanuts, thank you for sticking around. DD, Brad Hillborn, and Adam Carl, thank you guys for sticking around. We got 5 more weekly shows to go over, and we got plenty of material to dissect. Thank you, Brian King, as well. Yeah, I know, Brian, I know, Brian. We got Oldberg, Cocaine Beardberg. He's coming back to challenge Bobby Lashley for the WWE title. How riveting. It's such good shit, right? Isn't it such good shit? We have 15 likes, people. We are halfway to 30. If everyone can keep on sharing out the stream, get as many people in here as possible because we want to get 30 likes at least. We got plenty more to talk about, and we're going to get straight into Monday Night Raw. I will check the chat after I am done with the Monday Night Raw portion of this very stream. So, why don't we get to talking about Monday Night Raw? Because I know a lot of people are waiting. Strap in, people, strap in. So, Monday Night Raw. Surprisingly, Monday Night Raw actually started off with a match. That actually took me by surprise. I was blown away. They actually started off with a match and not a long-winded promo. I was shocked. I had my jaw to the floor. I spit out my water. So Xavier Woods took on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley. So Lashley was in control early. Woods came back with a super kick and a tornado DDT. We had a big tope con hero by Woods. Woods with a big missile drop kick for a 2. Woods then with a very nice transition into a crossface, but Lashley powered out of it. Lashley then hit a pop-up spine buster and a TKO. Lashley sent Woods head first into the post. He was just toying with them. Lashley hit the spear. Lashley was then just admiring his handiwork. He didn't fucking pin him like the fucking idiot that he's booked to be. He didn't just fucking pin the man. But no, Lashley toying with Woods like a lion playing with his food. This allowed Woods to lock Lashley in a small package for the 1, 2, 3. I really don't fucking... I don't fucking understand. I don't fucking understand. How many times are you going to fucking pin your champions clean in non-title matches? I really don't get it. See, there's a difference between pinning a champion once in 10, 11, 12 months and pinning a champion every fucking week. I can't remember the last time that WWE had a week where their champions were not pinned in non-title action. And this wasn't the only time this week that the champions lost in non-title action. This wasn't the only time. Why is it that nobody feels special? Why is it that everyone feels the fucking same? Why is it that you can't differentiate Bobby Lashley from everyone else? Why can't you differentiate Apollo Crews or Bianca Belair or the Mysterios? Why can't you differentiate AJ Styles or Sheamus? Why can't you differentiate all your champions from everyone else? Why can't you differentiate your fucking champions to a point where they are looked at as special? Why isn't Bobby Lashley booked like he should be booked? Why isn't Bobby Lashley protected? How many fucking times are you just going to allow and it's not just Bobby Lashley. It's not just Bobby Lashley. It's literally everyone but Roman. Well, at least until this week, because Roman Reigns looked like a fucking pussy on SmackDown, which I'm going to get to. I'll get to that, don't worry. I don't fucking understand. Stop fucking pinning your champions every fucking week. Make them feel special. Make them feel prestigious. And by the end of the night, I don't understand why you tore him down only to rebuild him back up again. We had Alexa's Playground with Eva Marie and Piper, I shall not call her Dewdrop, Niven. They were on the swing set. Bliss introduced them to the Playground. So Niven was asked about her time on Raw. Eva obviously spoke on behalf of her. She goes, "It's been nothing short of evolutionary because of me." So Eva was told that she was merely just a surprise bonus, and Piper Niven was Alexa Bliss's guest. So Eva obviously took offense to this, and she insulted Bliss's Playground, and she goes, "I can see why she only invited you," obviously talking to Niven. And they both left, and Bliss mocked Eva Marie. So, I don't know what the fuck this means, but the one thing that I am hoping for is Alexa Bliss is not going to win Money in the Bank. That's the only thing that I'm hoping for. Will she win Money in the Bank? More likely than not, yes, but I'm really hoping she doesn't. And if she doesn't, whether she does or she doesn't, the worst is yet to come. I say this all the time. Whether Alexa Bliss wins Money in the Bank or whether she doesn't, shit is going to get even worse. If she wins Money in the Bank, she's cashing in on whoever the champion is at SummerSlam, and she's walking out the champion, and we gotta suffer through Alexa Bliss again. I'm actually hoping for Bray Wyatt to come back and remove the evil from Alexa Bliss. I'd take the fucking goddess Alexa Bliss over this version of Alexa Bliss any fucking day of the week. But it's either Alexa wins the briefcase and she becomes the Raw Women's Champion, and we're back in the same fucking boat that we were not too many years ago, or she doesn't win the briefcase and she's going into a feud with fucking Eva Marie and Piper Niven, which is just as bad, if not worse. If Alexa Bliss can make Eva Marie disappear. I will never say another bad thing about Alexa Bliss ever again. So next up we had Jiggle My Balls, aka Jinder Mahal, Steroid Mahal, Hard Body Mahal, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he sucks. He came out with Veer and Shanky. I don't know where the fuck are these names? I don't understand how WWE expects their talent to get over with these fucking names. We got fucking Reckoning, we got fucking Slapjack, Slap Balls, Slap Nuts, Jack Balls, Jack Off, T-Balls, T-Bone, Mace, Disgrace, Veer, Shanky. Who the fuck's coming up with these names? So, Jinder Mahal goes, I may have taken things too far last week with Drew McIntyre. Bruce Pritchard takes things too far every single week, every single time Monday Night Raw goes on the air. So trust me, you don't even know what too far is. Mahal goes, I can't imagine you being able to eat, sleep, or train. I'm offering you an olive branch. Come on down and I'll apologize and I'll give you back your sword. So Drew McIntyre, he came up on the screen. Jinder, he says, Jinder, I know that you're a liar. Mahal then said, I had Veer and Shanky get your sword refurbished. So they unveiled the sword. The sword was broken. And Drew said that sword is just a replica. And then he pulled out the real thing. He pulled out the real sword. And he then walked over to Jinder's motorcycle and he goes, but I don't think this is a replica. So Drew then ripped the tailpipe off of the motorcycle and he knocked some of the steel coverings off of the motorcycle. And he was just beating the shit out of the motorcycle with the fucking tailpipe. And then Jinder goes, don't worry. No, Drew goes, don't worry, Jinder. It's nothing a little elbow grease can't fix. So, we had that segment. I'm telling you right now, shit is not looking good for Drew McIntyre. He is going to be booed out of the building if he comes out victorious at Money in the Bank. I'm telling you right now. He's going to be booed if he walks out of Money in the Bank with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And even if he doesn't, it's in the same category as Alexa Bliss. If Drew wins, it's going to be bad. If he doesn't win, it's going to be just as bad. Because if he doesn't win, he's going into a feud with Jinder Mahal. And that's going to be an undercard match at SummerSlam. Great. Good job. Good job. I'm running out of fucking water. I may have to fucking leave to refill my fucking mug here. So, next we had Nikki Trash versus Asuka versus Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. This was a fatal four-way. So, Bliss and Cross had a little back and forth before Eva Marie and Piper Niven came out to watch the match. Bliss with a DDT to Asuka for a 2. Bliss then went out of the ring and she went after Eva before Piper Niven saved her and sent her over the barricade. She looked over the barricade, did Eva Marie, and Alexa Bliss was gone. And she did not return. So coming back from commercial, we had Naomi and Asuka with a very nice back and forth. Naomi and Asuka are very good. But you wouldn't know that because of how bad this show's been. So Naomi was in control. We had a nice springboard enziguri for a 2. Nikki Trash with a tornado DDT. Nikki Trash then got locked in a submission hold by Naomi before Asuka came in. She tried for an armbar on Naomi. Nikki Trash broke that one up. We had a crossbody on Asuka before Naomi saved the match. Nikki Trash then with a leverage pin for the win. And Nikki Trash gets the win. Did you give a shit? Did you give a shit? I didn't. All this match certified is that Nikki Trash is losing. She is losing at Money in the Bank. And Alexa Bliss, more likely than not, is walking out as the Money in the Bank contract holder. Why? Because WWE just loves to cater to their precious little Miss Bliss. I wonder how many nights she spent over at Vince McMahon's private mansion. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. The Raw Women's Division sucks. This match sucked. Nikki Trash sucks. Alexa Bliss sucks. This show sucks. Nobody gives a shit about the match. If you gave a shit about the match, you're lying to yourself, or you're part of the minority and you don't mean anything. This show sucked. This match sucked. Everything about this sucks! The next segment was no better. We had Styles and Omos. Styles and Omos coming out. Styles goes, I need to get something off my chest. I said some things about the Viking Raiders that you found offensive. This show is offensive, Mr. Styles. He goes, what I should have said is that you're hairy, uneducated, salmonella-infested, never should have gotten off your boat to challenge the Raw Tag Team Champions, and tonight, Ivar, I'm gonna go for your leg, and I'm gonna break it in the calf crusher, and then Omos will have his first ever singles match, and he'll destroy Eric so bad, he'll wish he never took off his little horned helmet. And then we'll beat the Viking Raiders at Money in the Bank and show everyone why we are the Raw Tag Team Champions. So the show was actually scheduled to have Styles and Omos defend the championships next week on Raw, but since Bianca and her title match got moved, it apparently got moved to Money in the Bank. Great. So, we had Ivar versus AJ Styles. This match went 4 minutes. And Ivar won with a seated senton, and he pinned AJ Styles 1, 2, 3. He pinned AJ Styles 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles, I know that many people don't want to fucking hear this, but Styles is a glorified enhancement talent. Styles has been made into a glorified enhancement talent. AJ Styles has not felt the same since he was put on Raw and they paired him with Omos. We still haven't even gotten a fucking explanation as to why AJ Styles even enlisted the services of Omos. Why the fuck is Omos paired with AJ Styles? Have we even gotten that explanation? No. AJ Styles has pretty much certified himself to be nothing more than the female Shayna Baszler. I can't remember the last time AJ Styles won a singles match without the help of Omos. It is fucking unbelievable. How many fucking... I can't remember. This guy has been pinned by literally everyone. This guy has been pinned by everyone. Drew McIntyre, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Ivar, Matt Riddle, Elias, Jackson fucking Riker. Everyone's beating this fucking guy. Everyone's beating this fucking guy. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I am fucking praying to God that the Viking Raiders win the titles and they go into not Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and face RK Bro. Give the fucking titles to the Viking Raiders, get the fucking titles off of Styles and Omos, and get Styles away from Omos. Styles needs to get back to being AJ Styles. Omos should have been fired a long time ago. He has zero value. None. Braun Strowman has more value than Omos. It's not saying much, but he does. Speaking of Omos, Omos defeated Eric. And Omos did not even do a single fucking wrestling move. All Omos did was a fucking clothesline. A clothesline and a fucking double choke bomb, and Omos gets the win. If AJ and Omos stood tall here, I can only hope that that means they're going to come out victorious at Money in the Bank. So, we had Sheamus attacking Humberto Carrillo before his U.S. title defense. Damian Priest actually walked by and stared Sheamus down. Sheamus then came out for his match with Carrillo. Carrillo was in the back saying, "If I can stand, I can fight." He came down to the ring. The match began, and we saw a bro kick within 15 seconds. I think it may have been less than that. About 10-15 seconds. 10-15 seconds, and Sheamus retains the title. What a waste of time there. What a waste of time. I'll tell you what wasn't a waste of time, though. Sheamus was then confronted by Damian Priest after Sheamus attacked Carrillo. Now, I have been saying it for a good while now. Sheamus and Damian Priest, that's your U.S. title match for SummerSlam, and you give Damian Priest the U.S. title. Damian Priest has been doing absolutely fucking nothing of substance since he came up to the main roster. He was in a fucking zombie lumberjack match, quote unquote, with the fucking Miz, in which Miz got unnecessarily injured. At Backlash. Give the fucking title to Damian Priest and build up Damian Priest like a legitimate fucking wrestler. John Morrison. Johnny Drip Drip. America's Moist Wanted. Who's apparently calling people splash holes. I'm telling you, if John Morrison wasn't so good in the ring, I would tell you that he has about just as much value as Omos. That's how bad John Morrison has been. John Morrison versus Ricochet. This is the Falls Count Anywhere match. Ricochet and Morrison, this was actually the best match of the night. This was absolutely the best match of the night. This was an excellent Falls Count Anywhere match. I could have watched these guys go for another 10 more minutes. So Ricochet with a tope con hero over the top, taking out Morrison. That got a 2 count. We had a Hurricane Rana on the stage for a 2. The fight then spilled into Corella. I'm thinking about this fucking Cruella DeVille movie that everyone wants to fucking see. Gorilla position, not Corella. Morrison with a knee strike, sending Ricochet over a chair. That got a 2 count. We had a nice spot here where Ricochet actually rolled down the ramp on Miz's wheelchair. He rode the Miz. He rode the Miz down the wheelchair, down the ramp, and then jumped off the wheelchair with a crossbody onto Morrison. Miz then sprayed Ricochet with the drip stick. Morrison hit the Moonlight Drive for a 2. Riddle then came out and he flipped Miz on his back like a turtle being flipped on his back. And Riddle was mocking the Miz. This allowed Ricochet to hit the recoil. Morrison then fell onto a ladder draped between the ring and the announce table. Ricochet with a big splash, sending Morrison through the ladder, and Ricochet gets the win. 1, 2, 3, Ricochet defeats John Morrison in a very good match. Is he winning? No, he's not, but I'd like to hope that this does mean bigger things for Ricochet down the line. Will it? I doubt it. But this was still a very good match. Rhea Ripley versus Natalya. I'm going to be quite honest with you here, Rhea Ripley and Natalya. This actually wasn't a bad match. This wasn't a bad match at all. These two are actually two very good wrestlers, but again, you wouldn't know that because of how bad they've been booked. This was probably the best Monday Night Raw match that we've actually seen between anyone on the Raw Women's Division that has taken place over the course of the entire year. So I will give them credit where credit's due. This wasn't a bad match. So Rhea Ripley and Natalya traded pinfalls back and forth before Rhea Ripley took out Tamina. Natalya then with a discus clothesline. Natalya got drop kicked by Rhea Ripley. Natalya with a power bomb for a 2. Ripley locked in a reverse cloverleaf. Natalya then rolled through into a sharpshooter. Ripley sent Natalya into the turnbuckle, and that actually broke the hold. So we had a big roundhouse kick by Rhea Ripley and a Riptide for the win. Afterwards, Charlotte Flair came out. She attacked Rhea Ripley and injured her leg. So hopefully that means that Charlotte Flair is not winning the Raw Women's Championship tomorrow. But knowing them, they're probably going to give Charlotte Flair the title. Why? Because they can't fucking bear to see their precious little Barbie doll named Charlotte Flair without a fucking title. We had the final segment. It was MVP Montel Montavious Porter hosting the VIP lounge with the ladies of Lashley, the Lashley train, and he hyped up Bobby Lashley and the return of fans. So we introduced Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley came out. He didn't really give a shit. He didn't look too good. He looked like his suit was all out of sorts. He didn't really look like he wanted to be there. He looked very frustrated. So he took the mic and he asked to talk to MVP alone. So the ladies left. And Lashley goes, think about what Kofi said. Kofi was right. Everything about losing my edge was right. I lost to Xavier Woods. I am furious right now. You're trying to cheer me up with champagne and women? This bullshit needs to end now. And they did not censor that. The only thing I want is to destroy anyone that tries to stand between me and my WWE Championship. So then he trashed the VIP lounge. He threw the tables and the couches out of the ring. He took the mic. He looked dead into the camera. And he goes, Kofi, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to dismantle you and do everything that I said I was going to do. I'm going to beat you down, fold you up in a box, and send you back to the circus with the rest of the clowns. Oh yeah, the circus is dead. And after Sunday, so is your career. And that was the way that Monday Night Raw went off the air, with Bobby Lashley getting very, very furious with Mr. Kofi Kingston. Now, what does this mean? Three things. I took away three things from this segment. Number one, this means that the ladies of Lashley is going to stop. Because if you remember, there was a report that came out that Lashley's ladies is actually an Orlando, Florida type deal. It's an Orlando, Florida type deal, and the ladies are all residing in the Florida area. So I don't think they really want to travel. So at the end of the day, they had to end it. Now, you could have gone about it another way other than just beating Bobby Lashley only to have him regain focus, but you get what I'm saying. But the ladies of Lashley is over. That's what I got from this promo. That's number one. Number two, as we talked about earlier and as I ranted about earlier, Goldberg is coming back. And he's going to face Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. And they want to make Bobby Lashley look more intimidating and have him look more legit, because how legit is Bobby Lashley going to look against Goldberg if he's coming out in $1,000 suits and drinking champagne and hanging around 5 or 6 different women at a time? It's not really going to look all that impressive standing next to Goldberg, who's focused and determined, and he's just looking to kick someone's ass. That's number two. And number three, even though he's not scheduled for SummerSlam, I have a feeling that WWE is looking to get Brock Lesnar back for a match with Bobby Lashley. Specifically at the Survivor Series. I have a feeling that they may not do the Raw versus SmackDown deal. They might very well just nix that idea, and they may very well do a regular Survivor Series with championships being on the line. We could very well see Bobby Lashley defend the title against Brock Lesnar. Specifically because of that, and the fact that they want to make Survivor Series a big fucking pay-per-view. They want to make Survivor Series a big fucking pay-per-view. They're already trying to get The Rock on Survivor Series for a potential start of a program with Roman Reigns heading into WrestleMania. I wouldn't be surprised if they call back Lesnar for a match with Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series. So those three reasons are the three things that I took away from this promo. Lashley's ladies are over. Bobby Lashley's going to face Goldberg at SummerSlam, and Brock Lesnar's returning sooner rather than later. Other than that, this show sucked. This show sucked as per usual. Let me check the chat. We got Blazed Radio. How you doing? Please hit that like button if you haven't already done so, and share out the stream. I see some people are putting out some FCFs, the fuck Charlotte Flairs, because Charlotte Flair is a fucking cunt, so fuck Charlotte Flair. Thank you all for sticking around. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. That's one weekly show in the books. We got 4 more weekly shows to dissect. We're going to talk about NXT, and we're going to talk about what's going on with NXT and the main event scene, especially what's going on with Samoa Joseph and Mr. Karrion Kross. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. You guys are fucking awesome. We are going to jump right in. We are going to jump right in to the NXT review. So, NXT. NXT was not bad. It wasn't bad at all. But you could clearly tell that this was a come-down show after the Great American Bash show that we saw last week with NXT. This was more of a lull show. This was a lull period to get people in the sense of, okay, let's calm down a bit, and then we're going to pick up the build in a couple weeks because there's a reported takeover happening on August 22nd. So NXT started off with Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai. This was a very, very, very good match. Very good women's match. This was the best women's match all week for professional wrestling. So Moon was in control early before Dakota Kai took over with a big boot. She then slammed Ember into the post. Looked brutal. Dakota Kai then caught a nice clothesline. Some swift kicks and strikes by Moon. We had a butterfly suplex and a springboard crossbody for a 2. Dakota Kai then hit the scorpion kick, and then she had a running boot in the corner. We then had a swinging neck breaker. Moon sold this like RVD. This was a brutal looking sell by Ember Moon. She sold it like RVD sells the DDT. Looked awesome. So Moon still kicked out. Kai then went to the top. Moon then caught her with a kick. Ember Moon with a huge Hurricane Rana, but Dakota Kai kicked out. Dakota Kai then with the assisted elevated go-to kick. And Dakota Kai gets the win. And I like that Dakota Kai got the win clean. And I know for a fact that Dakota Kai, she is going to be next in line to face Raquel Gonzalez. And we could very well see Dakota Kai take that title off of Raquel Gonzalez. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. So, this was a very good match. All of a sudden, Xia Li comes out. And she stood face-to-face with Raquel. And it was confirmed that next week we're getting Xia Li versus Raquel Gonzalez. Now, why is this happening? Obviously, Raquel Gonzalez, she's not losing. Xia Li is clearly not ready for this position. She's clearly not ready for this position. She hasn't lost a single match this year. But she's clearly not ready for this position. I received word that Xia Li was actually in a dark match. Xia Li was actually in a dark match on SmackDown last night. So it looks like Xia Li could very well be called up to the main roster, which I don't know fucking why. I don't know fucking why, because again, she's not ready. She ain't fucking ready for this shit. So I don't know why the fuck you're just putting her in an NXT Women's title match. You're going to have her lose, and you're going to have Xia Li on SmackDown already? If Xia Li doesn't have the same entrance and the same presentation that she had in NXT, then what's the fucking point? I don't really get it. But Xia Li is not ready. Xia Li is not ready. Yes, she's undefeated, but she's not ready for this position, and she's not ready to get called up to the main roster. But it looks to me like Dakota Kai could very well be Raquel Gonzalez's opponent at the SummerSlam weekend takeover, should it take place. We had L.A. Knight. But he's got nothing on DJ Storms. So we got L.A. Knight and Cameron Grimes. And we're going straight to the broom. Because he's a butler now. This segment was fantastic. Cameron Grimes showed up late. He says he's going to go to the broom. LA Knight says when he's looking like that, he's going to go straight to the toilet. So Knight had a barber touch up Cameron Grimes, and that way it wasn't as scraggly as before. They put him in a butler suit, and I'll tell you what, Cameron Grimes looks good. He looks good. Cameron Grimes looks very good. So Cameron Grimes, he said he looked good, and LA Knight, he was mad. Cameron Grimes was saying, "You're just mad because I look so good." So we all thought that this was going to be LA Knight just completely shitting all over Cameron Grimes. It's like Cameron Grimes is making lemonade out of lemons. And it goes to show you how good Cameron Grimes really is. And this program with LA Knight, it's fantastic. This is easily the best thing on NXT. This reminds me of the classic NXT. This program has classic NXT vibes written all over it. And when Ted DiBiase returns and we eventually get the $1 million title match where Cameron Grimes beats LA Knight, it's going to make Cameron Grimes into the biggest babyface on the brand. And I love that. This segment was awesome. And the segments throughout the night were fantastic. We had Tyler Rust versus Bobby Fish. So Bobby Fish, he was in control early before Fish and Strong, they had a face-off. Rust came in and he capitalized on the distraction. Rust with a buzzsaw kick, and Tyler Rust beats Bobby Fish. Diamond Mine then surrounded Bobby Fish before Kushida came out to save Fish, and Diamond Mine back off. So Roderick Strong clearly is going to be the guy to take the title off of Kushida, which I would not mind whatsoever. And before we get there, we're going to get the tag team match between Fish and Kushida taking on Tyler Rust and Roderick Strong first. So I don't mind that whatsoever, as long as Bobby Fish takes the pin, if Diamond Mine is to win. Gigi Dolan versus Saray, formerly known as Priscilla Kelly, is Gigi Dolan. Saray, look, she's a good wrestler, but she's not going anywhere right now. She's not going anywhere. There really isn't much of anything that Saray has done. Her reign has been very, 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 very underwhelming. The main thing about this match is that Mandy Rose came out midway through the match. Saray won with the Exploder Suplex, and that was pretty much it. Saray gets the win. Pretty standard squash match. Saray hasn't really done much of anything, but Mandy Rose, she is a part of NXT. The one thing that I am hoping for, the fact that Mandy Rose is a part of NXT now, no fucking explanation whatsoever, but the one thing that I'm hoping for is if Mandy Rose and the appearance of Mandy Rose on NXT is an indication that NXT is going to be involved in the draft, I am all for that. If NXT is involved in the draft, that would be great. It's a legitimate third brand, so you could easily send some people down to NXT to improve the show. So if Mandy Rose's appearance means NXT is going to be a part of the draft, I'm all for it. Take my money. Take my money. We had Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis taking on Santos Escobar. This was actually very, very good for the 10 minutes that it went. Both of these guys are great, and I very much love what these two guys bring to the table. These two guys are absolute studs in the ring. Dexter Lumis and the character that he plays is great. Santos Escobar, he's fantastic in his own right, and one day he's going to be a North American champion in NXT at some point. So, Lumis went under the ring, and he tried to drag Escobar under the ring. I thought this was great. Legado del Fantasma tried to save him, and coming back from commercial, Escobar was in control. Dexter Lumis was crawling on his fists and slithering on his knees. I thought this was great. So, Escobar with double knees and a Hurricane Rana for 2. Escobar went for the 3 Amigos, but Lumis countered. Escobar came back with a backstabber. Lumis then with a big lariat. And we had a nice clothesline bulldog in the corner. Mendoza ended up saving Escobar. Wild then sent Lumis into the post. And Santos Escobar took over with a Phantom Driver, and Escobar wins. This was a fairly decent match for what it was. Probably my second favorite match of the night. And afterwards, Hit Row and Legado del Fantasma had a face-off. So, there's a couple things that I learned from this. A couple things that we can take away from this. Number 1, Lumis and Escobar are fantastic. Number 2, Escobar and Swerve are going into a program for the NXT North American Championship, and that's going to be great. And I love the fact that they're revisiting that feud, because the last string of matches that they had were great, but I love that they're revisiting this feud, but this time with Swerve as the champion and Escobar chasing the championship. I think this is going to be a very nice feud. And then Escobar, he's obviously not going to win. Lumis, he's going to be the guy to take the title off of Swerve later on when the time is right. And I think that's going to be great. We had LA Knight and Cameron Grimes in another segment where Cameron Grimes was told to mow LA Knight's lawn, and he was given a classic manual lawnmower. And Grimes obviously was having fun with it. He's like, my mom used to chase me around the yard with this all the time. So, obviously Cameron Grimes still upstaging LA Knight. We had the NXT Breakout Tournament, first round. It was Duke Hudson versus Ikemen Jiro. And this was a very good showcase for both men. I did not mind this match whatsoever. And both of these men did a very good job at showcasing what they are capable of. Duke Hudson ended up getting the win here. Very nice showcase. Duke Hudson has a very nice makeup. Duke Hudson moves around the ring very, very nicely. He has a great look. Ikemen Jiro, he's not really going anywhere now, but he can wrestle. So, Jiro was using his quickness against Hudson early. Hudson came back with a nice axe handle. He then slammed Jiro on the mat. Jiro then came back with some stiff right hands and a tarantula. Hudson with a belly-to-belly suplex and a big uppercut punch to the chin. Looked fucking nasty. Jiro then with a Hurricane Rana sending Hudson into the buckle. We had a blockbuster and a springboard moonsault by Ikemen Jiro. Jiro with a super kick. Hudson came back with a Boss Man Slam, aka the Winds of Change. And Duke Hudson gets the win, as he should. And I think that we could be seeing Duke Hudson in the finals. Hell, he may very well win the whole thing. I think this is going to be a very, very, very good breakout tournament. It got off on the right foot, and Duke Hudson, man, he impressed. He impressed, as did Ikemen Jiro. In the back, Ciampa and Thatcher actually attacked Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. So obviously, shit is not over between Ciampa and Thatcher and fighting for the tag team titles. We had Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. They took on Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea of the Robert Stone brand. Carter and Catanzaro win with a neckbreaker 450 combo. I adore Casey Catanzaro, as do I do Caden Carter. Afterwards, Aaliyah then screamed at Robert Stone, saying, "I've done more for you than anyone." She then slapped Robert Stone and beat him down as the crowd chanted for her. Afterwards, Frankie Monet then came out, and Kamea left with Frankie Monet and Robert Stone. So it looks like Frankie Monet may be a new individual in the Robert Stone brand. Pete Dunne and Samoa Joe, they had another face-off. They had another face-off in the back, so it looks like Pete Dunne could very well be a future opponent for Samoa Joe, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the main event, because we got a lot to talk about in the main event. So Cameron Grimes, last segment, Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, they had their final segment this week. Cameron Grimes paid a kid, to do the lawn, and then he accidentally knocked LA Knight into the pool. So Cameron Grimes is getting the better of LA Knight. I think this is great. And I said this last week. I'm going to say the same thing that I said last week. There is absolutely no fucking reason why LA Knight or Cameron Grimes should fail on the main roster. These guys have all the fucking tools that they need to succeed. They got charisma. They got a great look. They can cut a promo. They're great fucking wrestlers. All they need to do is book them correctly. Will they? No. We had a promo by Mr. Adam Cole, baby. He came out and he said, "I proved that Kyle's win at TakeOver Stand and Deliver was a fluke, and it doesn't count because it's unsanctioned. You went through the fire and you got burnt by old Adam Cole, baby. I'll embarrass you all over again. And I want to talk about you, Samoa Joe. You know, the coward Samoa Joe that just allowed me to get my knee strangled and twisted by Kyle O'Reilly. You are nothing more than an overpaid security guard, and you don't scare me." All of a sudden, Bronson Reed came out, the thick boy Bronson Reed. He came out, and he goes, "You are a master of mind games. I no longer have the NXT North American Championship, so I got nothing to lose, and I got all eyes on me. You're NXT's golden boy, but I consider you my golden opportunity." Cole tried to fire a cheap super kick before Reed dropped him, before Samoa Joe came out, and he stared down Adam Cole. So, obviously, Joe and Adam Cole, they got their own little shit going on as well. Next week, we got Roderick Strong and Tyler Rust of Diamond Mine taking on Bobby Fish and Kushida. We also got Raquel Gonzalez versus Xia Li for the NXT Women's title. And the Breakout Tournament is also continuing next week. Main event, we got Karrion Kross versus Johnny Gargano. This is for the NXT Championship. Samoa Joe was the special guest referee. So, Gargano attacked Kross immediately. Kross with a Saito suplex right out of the gate. Gargano came back with a super kick and a senton off the apron. Kross got right back up and gave Gargano a boot. Kross then got sent shoulder first into the steel steps. Kross shook that off and gave Gargano a choke bomb onto the announce table. Crowd was firmly behind Gargano here because they love Johnny Gargano. So, coming back from commercial, Kross was in control before Gargano came back with some stiff strikes and a slingshot spear for a 2. We had a big suicide dive by Gargano, sending Kross into the barricade. Kross then with the Northern Lights suplex and a roll-through brainbuster for a 2. That looked good. Gargano then countered a superplex with a crossbody. Gargano then caught Kross with a tornado DDT for a 2 count. Kross with a choke slam. Gargano came back with 2 super kicks. We had some back and forth counters before the Gargano escape was locked on. Cross was able to reverse it into the cross jacket. Gargano was able to get to the ropes. Samoa Joe pulled Karrion Kross off of Johnny Gargano, and Kross stared down Joe. Kross went after Gargano. Kross then gave the fuck you gesture to Samoa Joe. He went to use the steel steps, but Joe took the steel steps out of Kross's hands. Kross was distracted, and Gargano, out of nowhere, with a suicide tornado DDT on the floor, he hit one final beat, but Mr. Karrion Kross was able to kick out. Kross then hit multiple power bombs and a Doomsday Saito. Kross then measured Gargano with a big forearm to the back. Kross pinned Gargano to retain the championship. Afterwards, Kross and Joe got into an exchange of words. Samoa Joe was about to leave, but out of nowhere, Kross locked in the cross jacket on Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe passed out to the cross jacket. This was a very good match, and the ending was actually very good as well. Now, let's talk about what this means for the future. Now, I understand everyone's concerns. I understand everyone's concerns with Samoa Joe. I understand everyone's concerns with Samoa Joe. And I understand everyone's concerns with having Joe be the guy to take down Kross. Is he the right guy? No. He hasn't wrestled a match in a year and a half. He was an outsider that came in. He's only been in NXT for a month, and all of a sudden he's going to get an NXT title opportunity. I understand. I understand your concerns, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. Matter of fact, I agree. Samoa Joe is not the guy to take down Kross. Matter of fact, the guy to take down Kross isn't even on television yet. The guy to take down Kross, realistically, should be Parker Bodor. But he's not even in the breakout tournament. Now, Joe, although he may not be the right guy, although Kross taking a loss to Joe isn't really going to help the overall problem, and it's going to expose NXT for not building up anyone, and it's kind of lazy, I understand all of that, but in hindsight, it's probably the best route to go with. And I say that specifically because if Karrion Kross is stripped of the NXT title, and he goes to the main roster undefeated, do you trust this company to do the right thing? Do you trust this company to do the right thing and keep him undefeated for an extended period of time until the right guy comes around to defeat him? I mean, look at what they're doing to Dominik Dijakovic. Dominik Dijakovic pretty much has the same exact makeup as a Karrion Kross. Dominik Dijakovic went 21 fucking minutes with Keith Lee not that long ago at TakeOver Portland, and he recently just got rolled up in 3 fucking minutes by Lindsay fucking Dorado. Look at Keith Lee. Keith Lee beat Randy Orton inside of 6 minutes at Payback, and then, not that long ago, he got beat by the fucking Miz. What about Asuka? What about Asuka and the fact that Asuka, she was called up to the main roster, she was undefeated, and she tapped out. Asuka tapped out in 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes actually. She tapped out in 15 minutes or less, about 13 and a half minutes. She tapped out to Charlotte Flair in less than 15 minutes at WrestleMania 34. They gave her undefeated streak to Charlotte Flair instead of actually building her up as a means to potentially make a new star in a woman like Ember Moon, or a woman like, I don't know, maybe Sasha, maybe Bayley, maybe Becky, maybe Ruby Riott, maybe Nikki Cross. You built her up just to lose to Charlotte Flair. I mean, need I say more? If Cross goes to the main roster undefeated, now I'm not saying it's a definite that it's going to happen, but there's a 99% chance that we're going to see Karrion Kross in a position where he either loses to a guy that doesn't need it, like a Roman Reigns or a Drew McIntyre or a Bobby Lashley or a Brock Lesnar. We're either going to watch one of those guys beat Karrion Kross, or we're going to see Karrion Kross lose in a complete fluke way to a guy like the fucking Miz. Maybe a guy like the fucking Miz, or they're gonna have fucking Drew Gulak roll him up, or they'll fucking have Akira Tozawa in his fucking ninja outfit do a quick roll up on on Karrion Kross during a fucking 24/7 title chase. Is that what you want? You want to run the risk of Karrion Kross losing to the Miz in less than 4 minutes on a random episode of Monday Night Raw. Look what they did with Ember Moon. Ember Moon was undefeated on the main roster for about 3 months, and they gave her first loss in a random match on Monday Night Raw against Sarah Logan, of all people. Is that what you want? To me, it sounds a hell of a lot better to have Karrion Kross's first loss be in a 20-minute fight with a guy like Samoa Joe, and he's protected in defeat by passing out, not tapping out, and not getting pinned. So Samoa Joe's the NXT champion. He makes Karrion Kross pass out, and then that way people will remember Karrion Kross's first loss in a 20-minute hoss fight with a guy like Joe, and he's protected. Would you rather that have his first loss, or his first loss be against The Miz? It's one or the other. To me, a 20-minute hoss fight with Joe and him passing out is much better for his first loss than being rolled up by fucking Akira Tozawa or The Miz on a random episode of Raw. Joe's not the right guy, but this is probably the best route to go. This is the best route to go as we speak. And then you can have Samoa Joe fight with a guy like maybe Adam Cole, maybe a Johnny Gargano, and then he can eventually drop the title to Pete Dunne. That's the best route that they have at this rate. I'm not too keen on it, but that's the best route that they could go with at this rate. There's really nothing left to talk about. If you send Kross to the main roster undefeated, there's a 99% chance they're going to give his first loss to a guy like The Miz. I would rather have his first loss be against Samoa Joe. That was NXT. Chat's still rocking and rolling. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. We got 3 more shows to go over. We're going to talk about AEW Fyter Fest, night number 1. Yeah, I know. I see you, Danielle. I have a show to do, Danielle. I see that you're texting me, but I have a show to do, so I need to focus. So we're going to talk about AEW Fyter Fest night number 1. Thank you all for sticking around. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Hula Grim, Cool King, and Peanuts. Thank you all. Keep on sharing out the stream. Get as many people in here as possible. And keep the likes rolling. Keep the likes rolling, people. So AEW Fyter Fest night number 1, they actually just peaked 1 million viewers. They peaked 1 million viewers. Good for AEW. Good for AEW. They damn sure deserve it. So, we had the show starting off with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley versus Carl Anderson. This was for the IWGP United States Championship, and this was a very, very good match to kick off the show. Eddie Kingston came out to chase down Doc Gallows, so it was one-on-one. Moxley kept the aggression on Anderson. Anderson with a suplex on the ramp. Carl Anderson then with a rocket kick and a nice spine buster for a 2. Moxley came back with a superplex. Anderson and Moxley then took each other out with double clotheslines. Anderson with a Fire Thunder driver for a 2. And a diving neckbreaker as well. The gun stun was hit by Carl Anderson. Moxley was able to recover. Anderson then with a TKO. Moxley just barely kicked out. Moxley then with a lariat and a paradigm shift. And Moxley retains the IWGP United States Championship in a very good opening match with Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson is very underrated. Carl Anderson is very, very, very underrated. Lots of respect goes to Mr. Carl Anderson. Very much looking forward to seeing what happens going into the near future with Jon Moxley. And I'm actually predicting that we see a new IWGP US champion next week because Lance Archer called out Moxley next week for a Texas death match. Texas death match for the IWGP United States Championship, and it's going to be damn good next week. Ricky Starks. Absolute Ricky Starks. Absolute Ricky Starks versus The Machine. Brian Cage. This was for the FTW World Championship. So Cage was in control early. Starks came back with a missile dropkick, and he targeted the left bicep of Cage. He targeted the left bicep of Brian Cage, which is the injured bicep of Brian Cage. Starks came back with a lariat and a pump hand, and then we had a pump handle gourd buster by Brian Cage. Starks barely got his foot on the rope there. Brian Cage came back with a super kick. Starks was able to kick out. Starks with a very nice sit-out powerbomb. That got a 2 count. Starks went for the title. Powerhouse Hobbs, then stopped him. Cage then hit an F5 on Ricky Starks, and Ricky Starks just barely kicked out. The crowd was going nuts. Hook then distracted the ref. Hobbs, out of nowhere, hit Cage with the title, and Starks hit a thunderous spear, and he covered Cage 1, 2, 3 to win the FTW World Championship. Sloppy at first, very, very sloppy at first, but it turned out to be a very, very, very good match by the end of it. And what I'm very, very happy about is Ricky Starks. He made his debut during the pandemic era of AEW. Now, he finally got the opportunity to showcase to us what he could really do. And he got this huge ovation in front of a live crowd, winning the FTW World Championship. And I could not be more happier for Ricky Starks. Now, it doesn't really mean anything in the long run, but what this does mean, as far as Ricky Starks winning the FTW World title, is the fact that this means that Ricky Starks is the next guy to watch out for. See, we all knew that Brian Cage was the major star of Team Taz. We all knew that Brian Cage was the guy to watch out for, and Brian Cage is a megastar. He's got all the tools that he needs to succeed. Now that the FTW World title's on Ricky Starks, now we can put our eyes solely on Ricky Starks. Brian Cage is going to do his own thing. Now, Ricky Starks is going to be the next breakout guy in Team Taz. And he's going to be the future of the company. I'm very, very happy that he got a major reaction in front of a live crowd like that. And it goes to show you that Ricky Starks is going to be something special. And the crowd loves Ricky Starks. We had a great little segment right here. Cody came out with no music. He was pissed. He took a headset on commentary, and he was going on and on about how what we don't do is we don't kick a 62-year-old man to where he can't get up. He then took the mic, and he went down to the ring, and he said, "This is Fighter, and I feel like fighting." Aleister Black, Malachi Black, Tommy End, he then came up on the screen, and he goes, I knew a story. A man killed a horse, and I went up to the man after he had just killed his horse. He said with a strained voice and tears running down his face, a man looked at his horse, and he wasn't the same. This was the same horse that won him so many prized races. But he wasn't the same. So we took him out to the field. He fed him his favorite treats. He put a bag over his head. And, well, here we are, Cody. And when I looked at you last week, it just wasn't there. Cody then screamed, "Why don't you come down and take a better look?" Malachi Black then appeared in the ring, and a big brawl broke out. The referees came out to separate them going into commercial. In just one short week, and this is what I love, in one short week, they gave you every reason to tune into Dynamite solely for what Malachi Black and Cody are doing. And this is great. And I cannot wait to see what is going to happen next week. One short week, they sold everyone on Malachi Black and Cody happening at All Out. It's going to be great. Tony Schiavone, he interviewed Hangman Adam Page. Page talked about failing to win the AEW World Championship, and he said he needs that title. Don Callis then came out. He came out with the Elite minus Carl Anderson because Carl Anderson just had a match. So Matt Jackson went to the ring and he goes, "Do you remember us? We're those best friends that you abandoned for a bunch of losers. And based on your breath, you're still hitting the bottle. Let's face it, Hangman, you're the next great wrestling tragedy." So Hangman obviously got pissed at this, and he was fighting off all the members of the Elite before the Dark Order came out to save Page from being hit by Omega with the title. Page goes, "I came here for a match, and I'm not leaving until I get one." Omega then goes, "We could do things like that. We can do that. But I know you want me in this ring, but why don't we up the antics? Why don't we up the stakes here? How about your guys versus my guys, 5-on-5, elimination style?" So Page goes, "If that's what I have to do to get the match, then that's what I'll do. But when we win, not only do I get a shot for the world title, but these guys get a shot for your tag titles." So Omega goes, I'll entertain your idea, but I got a suggestion. They always say that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, but you also don't fail either. So after we beat you, not only do they not get a shot at the tag titles, but you lose your shot as well. Because isn't that what you're really afraid of, Hangman? Failing in front of all of these people? And I'm going to take a great measure of pleasure when cowboy shit turns into belt collector. Page then screamed, "You are on." This was an excellent segment. Loved every minute of it. It is great to see both of these two men really coming together and developing a long-term story, and everything that's happened over the course of the last number of years with Hangman and Omega becoming champion, and Omega just running through everyone. He beat Page at Full Gear to win the opportunity against Moxley. Everything that's been taking place with Hangman and Omega and all the history that's between them. It's just great. It's great to see, and I love every minute of it. Shawn Spears attacked Chris Jericho backstage. MJF walked in and he goes, "Your first labor begins next week. It is a match with Shawn Spears. But here's the catch. He can use a chair, but you can't." So that's the first labor of Jericho, and that takes place next week at Fyter Fest night number 2. Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. I know a lot of people were not too keen on Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. The build wasn't really much of anything, and not a lot of people had many interest in it. The main story is Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. And this was merely an interim program. But let me tell you something. Despite the build being very lackluster, this was a very good match for what it was. This was a very good match for what it was. And these two men did a very good job. I know a lot of people might not be too keen on them, but this was a very good match for what it was. There was no botches. There was no fuck-ups. It was just two guys going in there and just wrestling. It was clean. It was crisp. No unnecessary high spots. And that's all I can ask for. This wasn't bad at all. So Cage dove over the post with a dive onto Matt Hardy on the floor. Hardy came back with a DDT onto the ring steps. So Matt Hardy remained in control. We had a diving elbow from the middle rope for a 2. Christian Cage came back with a diving uppercut. Hardy then dodged the spear once. Christian Cage came back with a second spear for a 2. Christian Cage with a beautiful frog splash for a 2 on Matt Hardy. Hardy then with a very nice superplex on Christian Cage. Cage was able to kick out of that. Hardy then took the ref out of view sight, and he low-blowed the ref. No, not the ref. He low-blowed Christian Cage. He mule-kicked Christian Cage right in the balls. Hardy then hit the Twist of Fate, but Christian Cage still kicked out. Hardy then locked in the Leech submission hold on the floor. Cage then passed out. The ref was counting. 8, 9. Cage just beat the count. Cage then countered the Twist of Fate, and he hit the kill switch out of nowhere for the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, the Hardy family office came out. Jurassic Express saved Christian Cage. And Christian Cage, when he was hoisted up on Luchasaurus' shoulders, you notice that Jungle Boy was looking at him like, what's going on over here? He's very, very apprehensive about Christian Cage. So the turn's coming. When? I don't know. But the turn is absolutely coming. And we're looking at Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage at All Out. And it's going to be a damn good fucking match. So, Tony Schiavone interviewed Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And this was a great promo. Awesome stuff by Britt Baker. Loved every minute of it. Baker called herself the baddest bitch on the block. She said Vicky Guerrero is lucky that she has a last name that will keep her relevant. Nyla's at the top of the food chain, but I'm off the menu. Nyla, you need this. But even without this, I'm still Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. So this was some awesome stuff right here. I'm actually very interested to see how they gel in their match next week. I think it's going to be a very good match next week. And Britt Baker is going to move on to someone else, someone a lot better than Nyla Rose. And we could very well see Britt Baker versus maybe a Ty Conti, a Thunder Rosa, a Chris Statlander. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Wheeler Yuta, he took on Sammy Guevara. This was a decent little squash by Yuta and Sammy Guevara. Really nothing all that too special, but this was mainly a showcase for Sammy and a match to get Sammy back on the right track. Sammy was showing off. Crowd was eating it up. Crowd loves Sammy Guevara. Guevara with a standing shooting star for a 2. Yuta got the knees up on the shooting star. We had a missile dropkick and a nice German suplex. Big frog splash. Sammy ended up hulking up. He bounced back with a nice springboard cutter and the go-to hospital. Sammy Guevara, based on that reaction, he's gotta be in top contention to take that title off of Miro when the time is right. He's gotta be. It's either him or Brian Cage. So, after that, we had Penelope Ford taking on Yuka Sakazaki. This was a decent little match, but at the end of the fucking day, neither one of these women are really going anywhere. There are so many women that are ahead of Penelope Ford and Yuka Sakazaki. Thunder Rosa, Ty Conti, Chris Statlander, Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Red Velvet, Serena Deeb. All of these women are all ahead of Yuka Sakazaki and Penelope Ford. So at the end of the day, this really didn't mean much of anything. This was just the obligatory women's match on the show. Next week, we got a loaded show. We got Britt Baker, Nyla Rose for the women's title. We got Orange Cassidy versus The Blade. We got Moxley and Archer Texas Death Match for the IWGP US title. And we also got Jericho versus Spears in the first labor of Jericho. Main event was a coffin match between Darby Allin and Ethan Page. Let me tell you something. It is absolutely great. It is great to see Darby Allin, who came from nothing, and he is consistently in the main event scene on Dynamite. He has had the most main events out of anyone in AEW Dynamite so far this year. And that's what I love. That's what I absolutely love about Darby Allin. Ethan Page as well. Ethan Page, very, very happy to see Ethan Page in this position as well. So Darby went right after Ethan Page. Darby had a steel plate on his back. He did a springboard coffin drop to Page. Scorpio Sky was actually hiding in the coffin. Sting then came out to a thunderous ovation and attacked Scorpio Sky, and they brawled into the crowd. Sting hit Scorpio Sky with a garbage can. Darby Allin and Ethan Page, they brawled into the crowd before Ethan Page. Darby's a fucking maniac for agreeing to this. Ethan Page military pressed Darby Allin over the stairs onto the concrete. Looked fucking brutal. Page then brought in the steel steps into the ring. He dropped Darby on it. Page took down the turnbuckle, and he hooked Darby Allin with the turnbuckle hook onto his necklace, and Page just ripped it down. Page mocked Darby for choking. Darby then kicked the steps into Page. Page then fell into the coffin, and they brawled into the coffin. Page then slapped Darby. Page was busted open. Page then took Darby to the top, and Darby countered with a big stunner. Page countered, and Page hit a fucking Ego's Edge. If you did not see this, it was fucking crazy. A fucking Ego's Edge. An Ego's Edge off the top rope onto the steel steps. It looked brutal. The steps were actually dented from Darby Allin's body. So Darby recovered, and he gouged at Page's eyes. Darby with a skateboard across the back. Page fell in the coffin. Darby Allin closed the lid, and Darby Allin beats Ethan Page in the coffin match. Afterwards, Darby, like a fucking maniac, he coffin dropped the closed coffin, and crashing right through the coffin onto Ethan Page. Looked fucking crazy. This was some awesome stuff right here. Loved every minute of it. Very, very happy for Darby Allin and Ethan Page, and I hope to see even more good things for both of these individuals. This was very, 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 very fun to watch, and I cannot wait to see what happens on the following Dynamites. I actually do believe that Darby Allin's going to get a rematch with Miro. I think Darby Allin gets a rematch with Miro for the TNT title, and we see Miro win, and then Miro's probably going to move on to Orange Cassidy at All Out for the TNT title. Darby Allin, I'm not sure what happens with Darby Allin. It's going to be an interesting scenario to see what happens with Darby Allin, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't know why Danielle is, I don't know why she's all mad. I mean, come on, Danielle. You got me on the show. You got DJ Storms. What's wrong? You didn't get enough Cameron Grimes? You need to go to the moon? I think we're gonna send you straight. I'm gonna take you to the moon if you don't smile. All right? Come on. But that was AEW Fyter Fest night number 1. Can't wait for Fyter Fest night number 2. It's gonna be damn good. We got We got 2 more shows to go over, and then we'll get on out of here, and then we can all relax and enjoy our Saturday. I'm definitely going to do that because we got Money in the Bank tomorrow. So, let's talk about NXT UK. Triple H, he hyped up Walter and Dragunov. He hyped up Walter and Dragunov for next week. Apparently, that match isn't taking place next week. That match ain't taking place next week. Walter apparently injured his hand. So, based on that, I think it's safe to say that we could be looking at this match being postponed until fans are allowed back in the UK, and then we're going to get Dragunov inevitably winning. Hula shut the fuck up. Thank you very much. Shut the fuck up, Hula. So Triple H hyped up this match between Walter and Dragunov. We started with the press conference with Walter and Dragunov. Sid Scala said no physicality. We had Alex McCarthy. He asked Walter if he believed his reign was under threat. Walter said no. The difference is I'm in this for the greater good. Aaliyah does not have the mental ability to step up to my level. We then had Ace from BBC One. He asked Aaliyah what he's learned since his initial defeat to Walter. And he said, "It's been some dark days. I lost control. I needed to learn this, and I'm prepared." Alistair McGeorge then asked both men, what can we expect from the rematch? Ilya Dragunov, he said, "You can expect brutality. We redefined violence. But Walter shouldn't be too arrogant." So Walter, he took offense to this and he goes, whoa. Arrogance? You want to talk about redefine violence? I redefine this sport every single time I step into this ring. So I like that line from Walter right there. He goes, "You're just happy to be a part of this. I'm calling it. You're a fraud. You are fantastic, but you are not on my level. All of this is show, and you just want the attention." So Walter got pissed off. Ilya did not look at him because he was trying to keep his cool. Ilya then said, "I thought it was enough last time, but it wasn't. I had respect for you, but all of this respect after what you did to me is gone, and all that's left is hate. I hate you, Walter. I hate you for the person you made me become, and next week I will break you and walk out with the NXT UK Championship, or I won't walk out at all." So they stared down each other, they butted heads, and that was it. I thought this was fucking fantastic. I'm telling you right now, when this inevitably happens, when this match inevitably takes place, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a damn good fucking match. And I'm telling you, Ilya's going to win. It's either Ilya wins or they're never going to take that title off of Walter. It's either Ilya wins or Walter is never fucking losing that title. He's not. Now, Walter apparently injured his hand, so the match is not taking place next week. Hopefully, Walter heals up quite nicely because I really do want to see this match. And hopefully we see Ilya Dragunov inevitably win the NXT UK Championship because it's just his time. We had Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter versus Tio Man and Rohan Raja. Not gonna lie, I'm actually liking this tag team between Tio Man and Rohan Raja. I wasn't too keen on Tio Man, but now that he's in this tag team with Rohan Raja, I think they're great. I personally think they're great. And I think that it's really going to come along and they could end up winning the tag team titles. I like it. So Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith, they were the baby faces in this, obviously. Rohan Raja and Tio Man, they isolated Oliver Carter. We had a nice stalling suplex on Carter for a 2. They targeted the left arm of Carter. Smith got the hot tag. He lit up Tio Man with some big lariats. Same thing with Raja. We had a Samoan driver for a close 2 count. Rohan Raja came back with a pop-up powerbomb for a 2. We had a tag back to Oliver Carter. We had a German suplex and a super kick by Carter for a 2. Tio Man broke up the attempt off of a double team pin. Ashton Smith with a beautiful tope con hero onto Tio Man and Rohan Raja. Carter with an axe kick, but Tio Man stopped the dive from Carter. Rohan Raja with a pay dirt. Tio Man then with the crossface, and Oliver Carter taps out. Nice little sprint here for what it was between these two teams. And again, like I said, I'm really liking Tio Man and Rohan Raja. I wasn't too keen on them at first, but you know what? They grew on me. They grew on me. Next week, we got Pretty Deadly versus Subculture. This is for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. That's next week. I'm not sure what happens. Do Subculture win the titles? We'll have to wait and see. We had an NXT UK Women's Championship title match between Amel, the French Hope, and Meiko Satomura. This was decent. But you can clearly tell that Amel is still green in the ring. She's still got a ways to go. I feel as though they rushed Amel towards a women's title opportunity just to get Meiko Satomura a successful title defense, and that's about it. But it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match at all. But this was clearly a match to get Satomura a successful title defense. So, Satomura clearly out-wrestling Amel. Amel with a drop kick sending Meiko into the buckle. Amel then took some nasty kicks. Amel came back with a running boot and a fisherman swinging neckbreaker for a 2. We had a Pele kick by Satomura. Amel with a punt kick. Satomura with a roundhouse kick. Amel kicked out. Amel then with a leg trap spinebuster for a 2. Meiko then with a DDT, cartwheel, axe kick, and the Scorpio rising for the win. Decent little match, but obviously Amel was not ready. And on top of that, she screams way too much. I don't know what the fuck is it, but you remember when Carmella was SmackDown Women's Champion and she used to scream at everything that she did? This is pretty much the same thing. The screaming is just fucking terrible. So Supernova 11 sessions with Ginny and Joseph Connors, that's taking place next week. And then Walter and Dragunov was said to have gotten into an altercation backstage. Walter suffered a severe injury to his left hand. So that match has been postponed. Hopefully we do see that match sooner rather than later, with Dragunov inevitably winning the championship. We had Mark Coffey of Gallus versus Tyler Bate. This is for the NXT UK Heritage Cup Championship. We had no falls in the first round. Bate rolled up Coffey in the second round. He got the first fall on Coffey. And then Coffey came back with an enziguri and a sliding forearm. In the third round, he tied up the falls. Bate then delivered an airplane spin in the fourth round. Coffey delivered a half Nelson slam. Bate and Coffey both took each other out as the fourth round ended. Fifth round was heavily dominated by Mr. Mark Coffey. Bate came back with a bop and bang and a rebound lariat and the capo kick. Tyler Driver 97 combo, and Bate retains the Heritage Cup Championship. Decent little match right here. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know. I just can't really get behind the Heritage Cup rules. I'm not really a big fan of the whole Heritage Cup rules. I don't really like the boxing type feel. I hate boxing, to be quite honest with you. The stop and the start, just go right through. I don't really understand why we needed a Heritage Cup. I don't understand why we couldn't have just done a regular mid-card title. That's just me. Decent episode of NXT UK. Nothing too crazy. Moving on to SmackDown. So, the show started off with a beautiful video package hyping up the return of fans. We then had Vince McMahon kicking off the show, and he goes, "Where the hell have you been?" And then he just took a bow and he left. That was the LOL moment of the night for me. SmackDown, though, let me tell you something. SmackDown, I don't want to say that it was a bad show, because it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a dog shit show, but this was the same tired, formulaic booking that we're all accustomed to. I'm sorry. It's the same old booking that we're all accustomed to. SmackDown, and they're lucky. They're lucky that they peaked 2 million. But with what they hyped up the show to be, I was actually expecting them to get 2.5 million. But if they couldn't even get 2.5 million and crowds are back, what makes you think that they're going to remain above 2 million? That just goes to show you that people are not buying into this bullshit that, oh, the product's going to get better. The product's going to get better with the fans coming back. No. The show wasn't dog shit, but it wasn't good either. This show should have been a hell of a lot better than it was, and it wasn't. So Roman Reigns and the Usos, they took on Edge and the Mysterios. Crowd was hot. Every move that was made, the crowd was hot. So Roman Reigns powerbombed Dominic onto the announce table. Coming back from commercial, Edge tagged in and he lit up everyone. Roman Reigns stopped the 619 attempt by Rey. Edge caught him on the outside with a spear. Jimmy then struck Rey behind the referee's back and Jay rolled him up for the win. Decent little match, but hey, the champions lose! Champions lose on television. What else do you expect? What else do you fucking expect? Champions lose on television. Who gives a shit? So the Usos attacked the Mysterios. By the way, the Usos should not beat the Mysterios. Just saying that the Usos should not be beating the Mysterios in their tag team title match on the pre-show tomorrow. They should not. So Edge came in with a chair. Roman Reigns hit a Superman punch. Roman Reigns then took the chair piece off of the chair. Edge came in with a spear. And then he took the chair piece and did the crossface with the chair piece. And Roman Reigns tapped out in the move. This was terrible. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Why is it that after all of this time, after a solid year of making Roman Reigns a beast, after a solid year of making Roman Reigns as strong as you possibly can, why is it that now, all of a sudden, why now that you just have Reigns randomly tap out, even if it's not in a legitimate match, you just have him tap out, making him look weak in the process? I absolutely hate the booking on this show. I know that was not a Roman Reigns or a Paul Heyman move. That was a Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard move right there. I absolutely hated that. That was terrible. And by the way, the match wasn't as good as it should have been. The match should have been a hell of a lot better, but it wasn't. So after that, Sami Zayn came out. He complained about not being in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Sammy, you lost a fucking qualifying match. There is no fucking conspiracy against you. You lost! You lost to Kevin Owens in a qualifying match. You were given the opportunity, and you fucking failed! I mean, come on, I love Sami Zayn, but he's a fucking retard. I mean, he's a liberal, go figure. So Sammy, he says he's got something in his corner, and he says it's the people. He said, "You've seen me be persecuted and victimized." He got a Justice for Sammy chant going. He says he doesn't need chants, he needs justice. All of a sudden, out comes Finn Balor. Crowd absolutely exploded. He came down to the ring. He stared down Sammy. Sammy then went to attack. Balor caught him with a Eye of the Hurricane, a shotgun dropkick, and a coup de grace, and Finn Balor stood tall. Now, here's the thing. I don't mind that Finn Balor is on Monday night, not Monday Night Raw. Well, he should be on Monday Night Raw, but that's what I'm going to explain. I don't mind that Finn Balor is back on the main roster necessarily. I like that he's in a program with Sammy, and you're not going to hear a complaint out of me of him being in a program with Sammy. I think that's going to be a great undercard match for SummerSlam. That's going to be a great undercard match for SummerSlam, and on top of that, this gives Roman Reigns a potential contender. We could potentially see, if anything, Finn Balor could absolutely be a guy that gets built up to win the Royal Rumble and potentially beat Roman at WrestleMania, or you can have Finn Balor get built up and beat Roman after WrestleMania. I think that this is a great move. This is a great move. Don't get me wrong. However, what I don't understand is, why is it that all of the NXT call-ups are going to SmackDown? Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart, Xia Li had a fucking dark match on SmackDown. Tony Storm's getting called up. Finn Balor's getting called up. Rumors of Bronson Reed getting called up to SmackDown. Why is it that everyone is getting called up to SmackDown? You can't just put Karrion Kross on the main roster on Raw and expect that people are just going to care for Karrion Kross and then magically the ratings will boost up on Monday Night Raw. How do you expect to generate something new and exciting with the same fucking people that you've been working with for the entire fucking pandemic era? How do you expect shit to change? How do you expect people to actually give a shit about Monday Night Raw when it continues to sink lower and lower and lower into the fucking abyss? I don't want one show to succeed and the other show to fail. I want everything to succeed. I want everything to succeed. Finn Balor should have been on Raw. He could have easily been a contender for Bobby Lashley, and he could have beaten Bobby Lashley to win the WWE title. If anything, it should be Balor and Lashley for the WWE title at SummerSlam, not Lashley and fucking Goldberg. You could have easily put Finn Balor on Raw, and you could have had Finn Balor win the WWE Championship, and this would open up various amounts of doors. You put the WWE title on Finn Balor, you put the Raw Tag Team titles on the Viking Raiders, get Styles back away from Omos. Styles and Balor can have a program. You could do Balor and Hardy. You could do Balor and Sheamus. Then you can call up fucking Adam Cole. If you want to do Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania for the Universal title, you could do Adam Cole winning the Rumble, and you could have Adam Cole versus Finn Balor for the WWE title at WrestleMania 38. What is so hard about that? You can't keep on calling up everyone to SmackDown. Raw needs fucking help. A lot of people in the fucking community, various people, are calling for a fucking overhaul of Monday Night Raw. How do you expect Raw to be fresh, new, and exciting and intriguing when you're still operating with the same fucking people? One guy in Karrion Kross is not going to help. Aaliyah is not the answer. You need more than that. Speaking of Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox, they fought Natalya and Tamina again. Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan were on commentary. Apparently, this week's match was a number one contenders match. So, what the fuck happened last week? Was it magically expunged from the record books? What's going on? Oh, wait a minute. Bruce Pritchard is too busy jiggling Vince McMahon's nutsack to remember that he booked this match last week. Bruce Pritchard is too busy gagging on Vince McMahon's schlong that he forgot that he booked Bianca and Carmella this week, so he booked it again next week. Good job there, Bruce. So, Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega, Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan, they got into a fight on the outside. Natalya, like a fucking retard. Oh, what are they doing? They're getting into a fight on the outside. Well, I'm putting in the sharpshooter. Oh, God, they're getting into a fight on the outside. Like a fucking retard. I can see why this is the first championship that she's won in 4 years. Because she's fucking too dumb to realize when to properly focus. Natalya got distracted like a fucking idiot. Tegan Nox rolled her up for the win. We had a big brawl in which Liv Morgan stood tall. So, this was fucking terrible. Morgan and Zelina Vega were fucking cringe. The back and forth was fucking terrible. This match sucked. Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart get another win. If they don't win the women's tag team titles, and even then if they do, it won't matter. Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox are already fucking dead. The only positive about this segment, the only positive about all of this is that Liv Morgan is over with the crowd. That's the only positive thing about this. People are behind Liv Morgan and people want to see Liv Morgan succeed. So, then we had Carmella. Carmella took on Bianca Belair. This was for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was probably the best match on the show. This was a very good match for what it was. Really nothing too over the top, nothing too crazy, but it was a very good match for what it was. Made no sense, but it was a decent match. So Carmella took over, sending Bianca into the post. She then sent Bianca into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, Bianca mounted a comeback. Carmella shut her down momentarily, and she hit a top rope Hurricane Rana for a 2. Bianca then was sent into the turnbuckle. Carmella then locked in a guillotine. First time I've ever seen Carmella lock in a guillotine. We then had Bianca powering out of it with a vertical suplex. That got a 2. Carmella hit a super kick on the outside. Bianca then kicked out of that. Bianca then with a hair whip. And then she hit the KOD for the win. Very good match for what it was. Carmella is more than capable of holding her own in the ring. And Bianca Belair, she is a key pillar of the women's division. But of course, again, you wouldn't know that with the way that they've been booked. I just wish that these two women would be booked better. Will they? I doubt it. Because we got another fucking match next week between these two. And Carmella just lost clean. Toni Storm's also debuting next week. I guarantee you. Oh, by the way, I guarantee you Toni Storm's debut next week is going to be against Zelina Vega. And Zelina Vega is going to lose. Guarantee it. Just watch. Otis and Cesaro. This was a complete waste of time. I don't know why the fuck this match even took place. This match went 2 minutes, not even. Cesaro was German suplexed by Chad Gable, which caused the DQ. Cesaro then with an uppercut, he swung Gable. Otis then came in to save Gable. Otis with a Vader bomb to Cesaro, and the Alpha Academy stood tall. Now, if I was booking this, I would book the Alpha Academy to take the titles off of the Mysterios at SummerSlam. That would be the way to go. That would absolutely be the way to go. But this match was a complete waste of time. I don't understand why the Alpha Academy are even in a program with Cesaro. They should not be in a program with Cesaro. They should be being built up to face off against the Mysterios, not being used as an interim program with Cesaro before Cesaro moves on to Apollo Crews. We got Baron Corbin. I can't fucking say Taco Bell Chalupa Corbin anymore. I can't fucking say White Castle Corbin anymore, guys. I can't do it. He doesn't have the crown anymore. So he looked horrible. He came to the ring, and he goes, "Just look at me. These last few weeks have been the most difficult weeks of my life. The bank is threatening to foreclose my house. My 2-year-old daughter is sick because she's eating spaghetti out of a can. And if this keeps up, we're going to have to move in with my wife's parents. But you can help me through these dark times. So apparently he created a GoFundMe page. CorbinFundMe.com. He then got down on his knees and begged the crowd before Kevin Owens interrupted him, and he was face-to-face with Corbin. Corbin says, "You're out here because you want to help me. These people will fall in line. You sympathize with people who are in need. And don't take this the wrong way, but you don't spend money on your wardrobe." Owens then gave him a stunner, much to the crowd's delight. Notice I say there, the crowd's delight. Nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin. No one's going to feel sorry for Baron Corbin, and if you do, you're either an idiot, you're lying to yourself, or you're in the minority. No one gives a shit about Baron Corbin. It's either Corbin is given the lone wolf character back, or Corbin's going to continue to be the biggest waste of time on WWE television. The only character that had any fucking potential for Corbin was the lone wolf character. If it's not the lone wolf character, it's a bust. Lone wolf or bust for Mr. The crowd cheered when Kevin Owens hit him with a fucking stunner. So there you go. Now then. Moving on to the main event, and then we're going to get out of here. Moving on to the main event, we had Big E. Big E took on Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Mr. Seth Rollins. And this was a fatal 4-way match. This went 8 minutes at most. It was all action, don't get me wrong. It was all action, but this was really nothing over the top, nothing that we haven't seen before. I don't even know why this only went 8 minutes, to be quite honest with you. This should have easily gone 20 minutes at most. Decent little match, fun little match, but ultimately this match was disappointing, just like the show. So Big E speared Rollins through the ropes, head first into the ladder. Owens with a tope con here on to Big E. Nakamura with a knee off the apron. You know, based on the reaction, if you heard the reaction from Shinsuke Nakamura's theme music and the crowd singing Nakamura's theme music, I'm telling you, based on that reaction, I don't understand how you can't give the contract to Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't. Based on that reaction, you give the fucking contract to Nakamura. And you do what I say last week. You have Roman Reigns attack him. You have Roman Reigns take him out. Roman Reigns beats The Rock at WrestleMania. Nakamura returns to a thunderous ovation, cashes in on Roman at WrestleMania. That's how you do it. So, moving on to the end here. Nakamura was on the table. Owens with a fucking Randy Savage elbow drop to Nakamura through the table. Back in the ring, Rollins hit the stomp to Big E on the ladder, and Rollins wins. Afterwards, Rollins climbed the ladder, took the briefcase down, and that's how the show ended. Disappointing main event for a disappointing SmackDown Live on Fox. What do you expect? This is WWE. Are they continuously good? Are they consistently good? The answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Brian King. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so before we get out of here. Thank you, Brad Hilborn. Thank you, Peanuts. Thank you, Cool King. Thank you, Hula Grim. Thank you, Adam Carl. Thank you, Blazed Radio. Thank you very much, each and every single one of you, for tuning into this very stream. We got a lot of material going on over the next couple weeks. Of course, we got the Rewind The rewind for WWE Money in the Bank will be up on Monday afternoon. Rewind for Money in the Bank will be up on Monday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, as per usual. Check out the rundown with Mr. Cool King, a.k.a. Rob Wells Jr., if you missed it. Please make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. Next week on July 22nd at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be appearing on the Top Rope Squishy channel, in which me and Miss Squish will be reviewing Fyter Fest Night 2. And another big announcement for all of the individuals on the East Coast. If you are headed to AEW Dynamite on September 15th in the Prudential Center, I will be there. I'm going to be there. So if you guys are headed to the Prudential Center for Dynamite on September 15th, let me know. We can meet up. I'll give you a free wristband. You can take some pictures with me. I'll call you a fucking idiot if you want. And we're going to have a great time. So please, make sure you get all your activities in sorts. That way, you're free to go on the 15th and see none other than me. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. And I will catch you tomorrow, tweeting live for Money in the Bank, and on Monday for the Rewind. Peace.